What's going on, guys? I am Banker from Custom Offsets and we are back with another video. Now, we've already talked about all of the planning stages of your build, the mistakes to avoid, mistakes we've made, things like that. But what about when it comes down to the actual install, the actual physical act of putting in that lift kit? Today, we're going to talk about those things, those mistakes to avoid when actually installing your lift kit. But instead of sitting here on a stool, we're actually going to go back to the shop and we're going to do this in real time. Okay guys, so I'm gonna start out with a disclaimer. Obviously, we're in a professional shop. We've got a lot of tools, a lot of equipment. You don't actually need all of this to install these lift kits, but it ain't gonna hurt. First mistake you're gonna wanna avoid is trying to do this by yourself. Always have at least a second set of hands. When you're doing these rear axles, doing one side at a time is gonna save you a lot of headaches. We've learned that one the hard way.
Grab, I can't. You need to put your camera down.
So doing these one side at a time not only is going to save your back and your buddy's back, but it's also going to help save components that could get stretched out if this axle were to go too far. Now, another mistake you're going to want to avoid is just diving into this without seeing what you got. So lay out the kit once you get it, because missing parts or the wrong parts can really set you back. And it isn't going to hurt. Sit down and read through the instructions before you start either. Last thing you want is your truck stuck on a lift for a while. So another thing you're going to want to avoid is putting your shocks in upside down. General rule of thumb, stock style shocks like this are going to go to the body with the rod facing up. Your new aftermarket ones, if you have the BDS Fox upgrade, are going to go with the body up with the piston facing down. Now, the easiest way to tell which way yours should go is if you can easily read them. BDS, easily readable, body up. Stock one, you can read the warning labels, body down.
It says they're designed to run with the body of the shock absorber on the axle mount and the piston rod on the frame end.
What?
Yeah. So, this is the axle, this is the frame, up here. That's what it's saying.
What? All right guys, so if you got one of the fancier, more high-end upgraded lift kits where you have the new lift struts in the front and you got to take the springs and the top hat off your factory struts, this is where you don't want to skimp out on not having the tools. Yeah, there's ways of getting that spring and top hat off in your own shop with the clamps. Those are dangerous. It's totally worth it. If you don't have one of these machines or you don't have a buddy with one of these machines, take it to a local shop, pay 50 bucks, have them do this for you. Way safer. Okay guys, so another thing you're going to want to avoid is just throwing everything back together without checking it first. So don't be afraid, go through, check upper ball joints, check lower ball joints. You know, check the CV axles, anything that's torn, anything that has a significant amount of play, especially if you have a higher mileage truck, now's the time to replace it. You don't want to put all this stuff back in here with the brand new lift components for it to just fail sooner than it would have if it was just all stock, and then you have to tear it all back apart in a couple of weeks and replace it anyway. Do it now. So the next thing we want to consider to not make mistakes with is going to be the cutting. Now, it doesn't matter what the brand is, what the make model, you're going to have to cut on all of these trucks. At some point, something needs to be cut. So definitely double check your measurements, make sure you know where you're cutting, because if you don't cut enough, parts aren't going to fit. If you cut too much, parts might not even bolt up in the first place. You put a hole through a differential, something like that. So this is definitely a part where you want to be very careful or get a friend who is. Now at the same time, you probably could have gotten this far without the lift, with hand tools, without power tools, but I don't think you're cutting these off without power tools, so make sure you invest in yourself some decent equipment. The welding kit isn't going to be included in every kit, which means it's not necessarily necessary. But if you have one of these fancy BDS kits and a welder available, I highly recommend actually using this. It does stiffen up that front end a little bit and it'll help you with your BDS warranty, not omitting anything. So something you're going to want to keep in mind is if you've got a northern truck with the frame undercoating, you definitely want to clean up that weld area, or if you have some scaly rust on there from not being undercoated, clean it up well, because clean metal welds a lot better than dirty metal. All right guys, so now we got the lift kit in, and that's gonna bring us to our next mistake to avoid, is thinking you're just done. You got everything done, put the wheels on, slap it, and go around and drive. What you're gonna wanna do is just go back through and check all your fasteners. This is gonna be super beneficial if A, you weren't the only one working on it, B, it took you, more than one day, or you're finishing really, really late at night and you're not quite sure what you did and you're going out the next morning, right? So what I like to use is just a paint marker. Just go through every bolt, everything that's touched, give it a little mark, and that way you know that you've checked it, and this will help down the road if you're at a shop or if you're trying to work on it yourself, just remembering what was changed and what parts were touched. Another mistake you're going to want to avoid is that, while tight is tight, torque wrench doesn't hurt, especially on some crucial components like your brakes. All right guys, so we got the wheels on, truck's on the ground under its own weight, but there's still a few mistakes you could make. First of them being going out and driving this thing around. Now obviously you want to show off your brand new lifted truck, but get an alignment first. Professional alignment, so you don't wear out this front end on this truck. Tires, steering components, all of that stuff can go bad in a hurry if you just decide to go cruising around on the town. Now before you even get to that point, go around and check tire pressures. Never take for granted that they're going to be the right way the first time. All right guys, so the last mistake you don't want to make is not talking to one of your buddies who knows how to use a camera to take some high quality pictures and add that thing to the custom offsets gallery. And that's all I've got for you. Those are the mistakes we want you to avoid when installing the lift kit in your truck. Let us know in the comments down below if there's anything you ran into, anything we didn't cover. As always, like, comment, subscribe, Wheelstar Suspension, CustomOffsets.com. Peace.